just finished recording another episode of Wicked Pissah podcast for the Financial Planning Association of Massachusetts, and we had a chance to talk with Mike Byrnes, Byrnes Consulting, also the Coach's Corner. It was a great conversation. Thanks for doing it, Mike.
Thanks. We figured we'd just do a little video recap of what we talked about and some of the highlights. Which thing was worth talking about more?
I liked the knuckle analogy, the fist, talking about fist growth or whatever the phrase
Fist
you
of
used.
growth, yeah.
That was good, talking about different areas of growth in a business. That really grabbed me.
Really quickly, we'll just do that and that fist of growth so now people can visualize it. The video, that's perfect. The first one is client referrals. Most advisors just kind of let it happen, so they have to have a better strategy if that's the main way they're going to grow. Strategic alliances is really important because that is, if you get 5 or 10 of those great relationships, they compound year after year, and they're giving you 5 or 10 leads a year. Wow, that can make a huge difference over the long term. There's a lot of one-way relationships where advisors and planners just give out the leads and don't get them back. So that's a huge way to grow. The next one is any lead source that doesn't come from a referral. So that's your marketing and sales efforts and where you can improve. First 3 are organic growth. The last knuckle is really around M&A. So that's how do you tuck in advisors and grow?
Buy a business in effect.
Yeah. And the last one, and Chris asked a lot of questions about this on the podcast, is really around a slush. Can you be more profitable? Can you get leads from a different way, from a custodian or whoever it might be? Can you be more operationally efficient? Can your human capital structure?
Other ways you can grow, yeah.
Can your human capital structure be more efficient and more effective, I guess is the word. So I'm glad you pulled that out, but it was great to be on the Wicked
I would say
podcast.
my best takeaway, though, was to think creatively about those strategic alliances or centers of influence as to how who you go after to try to create that reciprocally beneficial relationship. Some creativity can be brought to that, not purely the traditional CPA or attorney kind of thought.
And we'll put a link to the podcast below so you can listen to the whole thing. But the widow example was, do you have a grief counselor? And do you know your target market? Who are those associations, people, professionals that can give you the leads? And there's hundreds of them out there. So think a little bit more creatively than just the accountant and attorney that most people think about.
Some great content.
Yep.
So, all right, thanks.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in and listening to the podcast.
Wicked Pissah podcast. Go looking for it wherever you find your podcasts.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.